Well, to arrive here and to be here, I've had to do absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. And that in itself is a real challenge to anybody who believes they have to make it happen. I was certainly brought up in a family where there was a lot of masculine energy, which is great, and there was a lot of doing and making things happen. But at some point in my own spiritual journey, I recognized that was quite hard on my system, that I had to make things happen. So this whole holiday, this is probably the 10th holiday I've had here in the 4.5 years. This has happened without any effort on my part, without any effort. In fact, I'm finding more and more that things happen without that effort, that there's a deeper and deeper trust in me that everything is evolving perfectly, and all I have to do is cooperate with whatever feels right for me. So it doesn't feel right for me to push anymore. It doesn't feel right for me to have to make things happen. That kind of energy doesn't feel right for me. It may do for other people, but it doesn't for me. So I don't cooperate with that. I just say, not interested in stress, not interested in pushy energy. Totally okay with, if something feels right, taking action on that. And I've done that many times in my spiritual journey. And totally out of trust. You know, whether it's moving up to County Down with Jenny, whether it's opening a wellbeing centre in Belfast, whether it's trying to start an alternative dance night in Belfast without alcohol, where people can come together. I'm always going with the intuition of what feels right. And when you do that, there's no stress. It's not difficult at all. But I think certainly my upbringing, and for most people, there is this notion that it almost has to be difficult. And when you push through, that's a good thing. And I don't always see that as necessarily true. Pushing through, maybe your resistance to something is different. But pushing for the sake of pushing and getting used to that kind of energy is very egocentric and doesn't lead to a life of ease and acceptance and calm. And I've seen that with many people, particularly men actually, where something happens, and even if they have illness, and they would talk about the illness in a way that I'm going to beat this thing, you know, and I don't see that necessarily as a great way to live anymore. So this all happened easily, effortlessly, and it's a little bit like I'm riding a wave. I don't know what the wave would be called. It could be called consciousness, could be called acceptance, could be called gratitude, could be called trust, or maybe there's a lot of different waves in the sea. And sometimes, yes, I have to set sail and have a rudder and know where I'm going. And other times it's okay to drift for a while and then wait for the wind to change and whatever. Okay, so that's where I need to be, that's where I need to go, that's where I need to explore. And just being open to those subtle messages, whatever they might be. It's just a much easier way to live for me than the struggle. Do you know, for me, giving up the struggle internally was a huge thing. It's almost like I was struggling inside with all kinds of things. Now I don't struggle anymore. Like, what's the point? It's not necessary. So the trees around us don't struggle, they just grow. They say, hey, here I am. Always wanting to expand, for sure. Always being called to be bigger, stronger, greater, more grounded. And we all are. So that for me is a great metaphor for life itself. Myself and Jenny were speaking earlier on about the idea that as we get older, sometimes we become almost so rigid in what we do that we've forgotten to embrace change. We've forgotten to embrace new things. And I think for both of us, it's one of the qualities in each of us that we love about each other, that we're able to and interested in exploring new things, whatever that might be. For me, last year, exploring the joy of a chainsaw, how a chainsaw worked, getting on Google, working out how it worked, and being able to cut down trees and branches and then storing the wood for our fire. That was a new thing. And I feel really alive when I'm open to new things. And I don't like the idea of living my life a certain way all the time and having too much routine and too much order. It just doesn't feel like freedom to me. So I like the idea of not being constrained and my favorite word probably these days is expansion. Just in the expansion of consciousness, and letting myself be as big as I can be. And it's a little bit like I inhabit different worlds now. So I inhabit the world of this, of stillness. I inhabit the world of creative writing at the moment. I inhabit the world, obviously, of making video. I inhabit the world of one-to-one work with people. I inhabit the world of presentation work within organizations. I inhabit the world of deeper stillness work with people over long periods. I inhabit the world of organic farming, which is something that we do at home. I inhabit the world of trying to recycle more and more. There's lots of different worlds now, and I feel quite big. My life feels quite varied, and I love the variety I have in my life every day. It just keeps me alive, keeps me young. Well, young in spirit. I know in body, in kind of Earth time, I'm 56 years of age, and it feels almost like a lie. It doesn't feel real for me that I'm 56 years of age. Partly because I think when I compare myself to other people who would be in their late 50s, I just feel very different. And I know they feel that I'm different too. I'm not saying that in a good or a bad way, it's just a fact. You know, and what is it then that helps you to become alive? What is it that gives you joy? What is it that gives you freedom? I mean, you can find those things. I would just say go for them. And embrace them and love them.